There is a specific kind of silence that happens right before your life changes. Not the silence of an empty room or a quiet evening. It's the silence inside you, that half second where your brain registers something wrong before the rest of you catches up. I felt it the moment my mother opened her mouth. We were sitting around her dining room table. The same table where I'd eaten 10,000 meals. Where I'd done homework as a kid, cried after breakups as a teenager, laughed at holidays as an adult. The table that had seen more of my life than most people had. My sister, Danielle, was sitting across from me. Glowing, practically vibrating with excitement. She'd asked us all to come for dinner that Sunday. Family dinner, she'd said in the group chat. I have news. Figured maybe she was moving. Maybe she'd gotten a promotion. Maybe her and Marcus, her on-again, off-again husband, had finally decided to make things official. Again. I had absolutely no idea what was coming. She waited until everyone had a full plate. Then she reached across and squeezed Marcus's hand, and the smile on her face stretched wide, and she said, Danielle, we're expecting baby number 4. The table erupted. My dad stood up. Actually stood up, nearly knocking over his water glass. My mom pressed both hands to her cheeks and started crying. My aunt, who never cries, had tears in her eyes. Marcus was grinning like he'd just won something. My 2 cousins were clapping. Danielle's 3 kids, who were eating in the living room, came running in because of the noise, confused but laughing because the adults were laughing. And I sat there. I was smiling. I know I was smiling because I could feel it, tight, automatic, the smile you produce when social situations demand one. But somewhere behind it, something in me had gone very, very still. This is going to land on me. Somehow, in some way I can't yet see. This is going to land on me. The celebration lasted about 90 seconds. The hugging, the congratulations, the how far along. And do you know the gender yet? And then my mother sat back down, looked at me across the table with the warmest, most loving expression on her face, and detonated a bomb. Mom. Good thing your schedule is flexible, sweetheart. You'll be able to help Danielle with the baby on weekdays. Not, would you be willing to help? Not, we were hoping you might be available sometimes. You'll be able to help. Future tense. Settled fact. Decision already made. 8 words. And just like that, my entire life had been rearranged by someone else at a dinner table without my permission. I want to tell you I responded immediately. I want to tell you I said calmly and clearly, actually no, I'm not going to do that. I want to tell you I had the presence of mind in that moment to draw the line before it was drawn for me. But I didn't. I just kept smiling. And I said something like, let's talk about that later. And I reached for my fork, and I spent the rest of that dinner feeling like I was sitting at the bottom of a very deep lake, watching the world through water. 'Cause I already knew. In the part of me that's been in this family for 31 years, I already knew exactly what was coming. And I also knew that this time, I was not going to let it happen. My name is Cassidy. I'm 31 years old. I work remotely as a project coordinator for a mid-sized marketing agency, which means I set my own hours, work from home, and have the kind of schedule that looks, from the outside, like freedom. And to my family, it looks like availability. I need you to understand something before this story goes any further. I love my family. That's not something I say because I'm supposed to. It's something I say because it's the very thing that made all of this so hard. It's easy to walk away from people you don't care about. It is brutally, devastatingly hard to hold a boundary with the people who made you, who you grew up with, who you have 27 years of Christmas mornings and birthday dinners and late-night phone calls with. But love is not the same as obligation. And for a very long time in my family, those two things got treated like they were identical. Let me tell you about Danielle. My sister is 3 years older than me. She is beautiful, funny, loud in the best possible way, and the kind of person who fills a room without trying. Growing up, she was the one everyone noticed. The one who got into trouble and got away with it. The one my parents worried about endlessly, but also, and I saw this even as a child, the one they protected most fiercely. She had her first baby, a girl named Piper, at 22. The father was a guy named Devon who disappeared before Piper's first birthday. My parents helped, emotionally, financially, practically. They babysat. They paid bills when Danielle couldn't. They co-signed a lease. They did what parents do when they love their child and their child is drowning. I was 19. Helped too. Course I did. Then came Jackson. Danielle was 25. Different father. A long-term relationship that ended badly. Again, my parents stepped in. Again, I helped when I could. I was 22, still in school, still figuring out my own life. But I babysat on weekends. I drove Danielle to doctor's appointments when Marcus, who was in the picture by then, sort of wasn't available. I stayed quiet about the things I was giving up because saying anything felt selfish, felt small, felt like I was making Danielle struggle about me. Then Marcus and Danielle got married. Felt like a fresh start. Marcus was decent. Not exceptional, but decent. He had a decent job. They had a decent apartment. And they had Mia, their daughter, together, who was honestly the sweetest baby I'd ever seen. 3 kids. 3 different life situations. Danielle was 31 now. Marcus was 34. And somewhere along the way, it had been established. Not in any conversation I was part of, not in any agreement I signed, that I was the family's flexible resource. I had become, without anyone ever asking me, the backup plan. The thing is, I'd let it happen. Not because I was weak. 'Cause I loved them. 'Cause every time they needed me, I showed up. Every time Danielle had a crisis, I rearranged my schedule. Every time my parents asked if I could just watch the kids for a few hours, those few hours turned into 7, and I'd come home exhausted and say nothing because what was there to say? They needed help. Could help. So I helped. What I didn't see, or refused to see, was the pattern that was forming. I'd had a job offer 2 years earlier, a position that would have required me to relocate to another city. A real career step. A chance to build something for myself. I turned it down because Danielle was going through a rough patch and my mom said, with that particular quiet devastation she's so skilled at, "I just don't know how we'd manage without you close by." I turned it down. I told myself it wasn't the right time. I'd loaned Danielle money twice. $3,000 the first time when her car broke down. $1,500 the second time when she was short on rent. I'd never seen a dollar of it returned. I hadn't asked for it back because asking felt like I was keeping score. And keeping score felt selfish, and selfish felt like the worst thing I could be. I was exhausted. Not the kind of tired that a good night's sleep fixes. The kind of tired that settles into your bones and your sense of self. The kind that makes you forget what you wanted before you started wanting what everyone else needed. I'd been in therapy for 8 months at the point of that dinner. My therapist, Dr. Reyes, had a phrase she kept coming back to. "Cassidy, being needed is not the same as being valued." I'd written it down. I'd taped it to my bathroom mirror. I was starting, slowly, painfully, to understand it. And then came Sunday dinner, baby number 4. And my mother's 8 words. And I realized that understanding something and surviving it are 2 completely different things. I called my mother 3 days after the dinner. On a Wednesday morning before I opened my laptop, before I had my coffee. I called her because I needed to do it before I lost my nerve. And I needed to have it as a real conversation, not a text. She answered on the second ring, cheerful and warm, the way she always is in the morning. "Mom. Hey sweetheart. I was just thinking about you. Did I leave my good serving spoon at your place last?" "Cassidy." "Mom. I need to talk to you about what you said at dinner. About me helping Danielle with the baby." Beat of silence. Not long. Just enough for her to shift gears. "Mom." "Oh honey. Course. We should talk about logistics. I'm thinking maybe 3 days a week. Just until Danielle gets back on her feet after." "Cassidy." "Mom. I'm not going to be able to do that." The silence this time was longer. "Mom. What do you mean?" "Cassidy. I mean I can't commit to regular babysitting. Have a job. I'm in the middle of building something. Mom. You work from home." "Cassidy." "Yes. I work from home. Those are both true." "Mom. I just mean your schedule is more flexible than most people's." Danielle is going to need support. Cassidy. Danielle has Marcus. Danielle has you and Dad. I'm happy to help sometimes like I always do. But I can't be a regular childcare provider. Can't do weekdays. I have meetings, I have clients, I have... Mom. Cassidy. She's your sister. And there it was. The sentence that was supposed to end the conversation. The trump card. The word that was meant to mean, your needs are automatically secondary. Cassidy. I know she's my sister. That doesn't change what I'm capable of giving. The call ended stiffly. My mother said she was disappointed and that we would talk more later. Said okay. I hung up and sat very still for about 30 seconds. Then I opened my laptop and started working because if I let myself feel it fully in that moment, I would have cried, and I was tired of crying about things I hadn't done wrong. What I didn't know, what I had no way of knowing, was that by that evening my mother had already called my Aunt Linda, my Uncle Paul, my Cousin Bree, and apparently her friend from church, all of whom now had a version of events. The pressure campaign had begun. The parent escalation. My father called me that Thursday. My dad is a quiet man. He was an engineer for 30 years. He communicates in logic and precision, and he almost never calls me in the middle of the week. The fact that he was calling meant my mother had asked him to. Dad. Your mother says there's some confusion about the baby situation. Cassidy. There's no confusion, Dad. I'm not able to do regular weekday babysitting. Dad. We understand you're busy, Cass. But your sister is going to need support. Marcus's hours aren't reliable. And your mother and we're not as young as we used to be. Cassidy. I know. I'm not saying I'll never help. I'm saying I can't be the primary childcare arrangement. Dad. We sacrificed a lot for you girls. Your mother gave up her career when you were born. Cassidy. Dad. No. And I'm grateful. But using that to ask me to give up things doesn't feel fair. Silence. My father's uncomfortable silences are different from my mother's. His feel like he's genuinely processing. Genuinely trying. And that almost made it worse, because I could see he wasn't being cruel. He was being a father who loved his daughter and wanted to fix a problem. And in his mind, I was the easiest solution. Dad. I just think family helps family. That's all. Family helps family. I'd heard that phrase 11 times in my life that I could specifically recall. It had been used to justify borrowing my car for a week without asking. It had been used to justify me skipping a friend's wedding to drive Danielle to a hospital appointment. It had been used to justify every inconvenience, every sacrifice, every moment where my needs were treated as optional and my sisters were treated as urgent. Family helps family. Unless the family member doing all the helping finally asks to be considered a member of that same family. Danielle texted me 4 days after the dinner. Short, almost casual. Hey, so Mom said you're being weird about the baby thing. Can we talk? Being weird. Not can we discuss this? Not. I'd like to understand your concern. Being weird. Called her. I kept my voice even. I explained again that I was happy to be supportive, that I loved her and the kids, but that I couldn't be an unpaid weekday caregiver for a newborn on a long-term basis. Danielle was quiet for a moment. Danielle. I'm not asking you to do it for free, Cass. Cassidy. You haven't offered to pay me. Danielle. I mean, I figured it was family. It's different. Cassidy. A daycare center charges around $1,800 a month. A nanny charges even more. If you're talking about regular structured childcare, that's what the market rate looks like. Danielle. I'm not hiring a nanny, Cassidy. I'm asking my sister. Cassidy. And your sister is telling you she can't do it. The call ended badly. Danielle was crying by the time we hung up. Not angry crying, sad crying, which is somehow harder to navigate. And even then, even knowing what I know now, part of me wanted to take it back. Part of me wanted to say, fine, I'll figure it out. Because that's the part of me that had been trained for decades to make her pain stop. But I didn't take it back. And 2 days later, I saw a post on Danielle's Instagram. A quote graphic, the kind with a pretty font over a sunset background. Real family shows up. Not just when it's convenient. No names. Course not. Just a grenade released quietly into the group chat of our shared extended family, with a pin that everyone knew had my fingerprints on it. The comments were predictable. So true. This. Some people just don't understand family. She's telling everyone. She's rewriting the story before I can tell mine. My Aunt Linda called me on a Saturday morning. Aunt Linda is my mom's older sister. Practical, blunt, the kind of woman who thinks emotional complexity is something people invented to avoid responsibility. Aunt Linda. Cassidy, I'm going to be straight with you. Everyone is talking about this. Cassidy. Talking about what? Aunt Linda. About you refusing to help with the baby. Danielle is hurt. Your mother is upset. I'm not calling to take sides. I'm calling because this is becoming a thing and I don't want it to blow up at Thanksgiving. Thing. My life, my time, my right to say no to a 5-year commitment. A thing. Something to be managed before the holiday calendar became inconvenient. Cassidy. Aunt Linda, has anyone told you my side of this? Aunt Linda. I know you're busy. Cassidy. Has anyone told you that I turned down a job opportunity 2 years ago because of family obligations? That I've loaned Danielle over $4,000 that I've never been paid back? That I've logged hundreds of hours of babysitting that no one has ever compensated me for? Silence. Aunt Linda. I didn't know about the money. Cassidy. No, you didn't. Because nobody talks about that part. The call with Aunt Linda ended differently than I expected. She didn't apologize, but she got quieter, more careful. She said she needed to think. That was more than I expected. But then my cousin Bree, who is 23 and means well and has approximately zero awareness of how family systems work, texted me. Hey, I heard you don't want to help with the baby because you hate kids? There it was. Danielle had told someone who had told someone that I hated children. Not that I had legitimate concerns about my time and capacity. Not that I was overwhelmed and stretched thin. That I hated children. That was the narrative being built. And if I didn't get ahead of it, it would become the truth. I typed back to Bree. I love children. I've been babysitting Danielle's kids for years without being asked or paid. What I can't do is commit to being a full-time unpaid caregiver for a newborn. Those are very different things. Bree replied. Oh, babe. That makes more sense. But I knew it didn't matter what made sense to Bree. The story was already out there. And in family dynamics, the first narrative wins. 3 weeks after the dinner, I was at my parents' house dropping off some things my dad had left in my car. He wasn't home. My mom was in the kitchen. And I was walking past the small room they call the office. Really just a desk and some filing cabinets, when I heard my mother on the phone. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I genuinely wasn't. But my name stopped me cold. Mom. Cassidy will come around. She just needs some time. You know how she gets. I already told you, she's confirmed for the first 3 months, and then we'll figure out the rest as we go. I stood in the hallway and the floor felt like it had tilted. She'd already told someone I was confirmed. I had told my mother, clearly twice, that I was not going to do regular weekday childcare. And she had gone back to Danielle, or whoever she was talking to, and told them I'd confirmed. The decision had already been made. Without me. I didn't confront her right then. I made myself keep moving, put the things down in the living room, said a quick goodbye, and drove home. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. Not from anger, from something colder. From the realization that I had been completely outside of a plan that featured me as the central figure. That night I called Danielle's best friend, Tara, who I'd always been friendly with. Tara is one of those people who genuinely cannot keep a secret. Not because she's malicious, just because she doesn't think about it. I didn't ask her directly. I just said casually that I was trying to understand the childcare situation so I could be helpful. And Tara said, completely without guile. Tara. Oh yeah, Danielle's been planning to go back to work at 6 weeks. She figured she'd just have you watch the baby Monday through Friday like a regular thing. She's already talked to her boss about her return date. Monday through Friday. 6 weeks postpartum. Danielle had already told her employer when she was coming back. She had already structured her return to work around me, around childcare I had never agreed to provide. I asked, still keeping my voice light. And what about after those 3 months? When does she figure that out? Tara. I think she was assuming it'd just continue, like until the baby's in preschool or whatever. 2, maybe 3 years. Thank Tara. Hung up. I sat on my kitchen floor. 2 to 3 years. Monday through Friday. Full-time infant care, then toddler care. And I'd never been asked. I'd never agreed. I'd actually explicitly said no. Twice. And the plan had continued as though my no was simply a temporary obstacle to be waited out. They had bet on my inability to hold a boundary. And they had made that bet based on 31 years of evidence. Because I had never, not once, held a hard line with my family. I had always come around. I had always adjusted. I had always found a way to say yes, eventually, even when it cost me. They were counting on the version of me that existed before therapy. Before Dr. Reyes. Before I started, slowly and painfully, understanding the difference between being loved and being used. The question now was, which version of me was going to show up? I asked my mother, my father, and Danielle to meet me at my parents' house on a Sunday afternoon. I told them I wanted to have a conversation about the situation and that I thought we all needed to be in the same room. My mother thought this meant I was coming around. I could hear it in her voice on the phone, that careful brightness, that sense of a problem about to be resolved. When I walked in, Danielle was already there, sitting on the couch, her hands wrapped around a mug of tea. My dad was in his armchair. My mom was in the kitchen but came in when she heard the door. Nobody said anything awkward. They asked if I wanted coffee. Said no. I sat down. I'd written notes. Not to read from, but so I wouldn't forget anything. Because when you get emotional, your brain drops things, and I couldn't afford to drop anything. I started quietly. Cassidy. I want to have an honest conversation. Not an argument. I want to say some things that I think everyone in this room needs to hear. And I'd like you to let me finish before anyone responds. Can we do that? Everyone nodded. Danielle looked wary. My mother looked hopeful. Cassidy. I know that you've all been operating under the assumption that I will take care of the baby on weekdays when Danielle goes back to work. I know this because I heard Mom on the phone 3 weeks ago telling someone I was confirmed. I know this because Danielle has already given her employer a return date. And I know this because when I said no twice, the plan continued exactly as it was, as if my answer was a formality rather than an answer. Silence. Mom. Cassidy. Cassidy. I'm not finished. Please. My mother closed her mouth. Cassidy. I want to tell you all something. Because I don't think the full picture has ever been in the same room at the same time. In the last 7 years since Piper was born, I have logged, conservatively, over 400 hours of unpaid babysitting. I know that because I went back through my calendar. 400 hours. At the going rate for childcare in this city, that is roughly $8,000 of labor that I provided for free. Danielle shifted on the couch. Cassidy. I have loaned Danielle $4,500. I have not been repaid any of it. I have not asked for it back until now. I am asking for it back now. Danielle. Cass, that was years ago. Cassidy. 2 years ago for the second loan. I'm not saying this to be cruel. I'm saying it because the framing of this situation is that I'm being selfish. And I want everyone to understand what selfish means in this family, apparently. It means, for the first time in 31 years, I am declining to do something that was assigned to me without my consent. My dad was looking at the floor. My mother's expression had changed. The hope was gone, replaced by something more complicated, more uncomfortable. Cassidy. 2 years ago, I was offered a position that would have changed my career trajectory. I turned it down. I turned it down because I was told, not asked, told, that the family needed me close by. I made a permanent decision about my professional future based on a conversation where I was a passenger, not a driver. I'm not saying I made the wrong choice. I'm saying I was never truly allowed to make a choice at all. Danielle was crying now. Not dramatically. Quietly, looking at her mug. I kept my voice even. Cassidy. I love you, Danielle. I love your kids. I love all 3 of those children like they are my own. None of what I'm saying is about them. This is about an arrangement that was decided for me, by people who have spent years knowing that I would eventually say yes. And I need you to understand. I am not going to say yes this time. Mom. So you're just going to leave your sister on her own? With 4 children. Cassidy. Danielle has Marcus. Danielle has you and Dad. Danielle has access to subsidized childcare programs, flexible work arrangements, and every resource that working parents use every day. She is not on her own. She just won't have me as a free, full-time, always available option. And I think, if I'm being completely honest, that I was never supposed to become that. I think at some point, a temporary pattern became a permanent expectation, and nobody noticed it happening except me. My father cleared his throat. Dad. I didn't know about all the money, Cass. Cassidy. I know you didn't. Nobody asked. That landed. I could see it land on him. Cassidy. I'm not leaving this family. I'm not cutting anyone off. I will still show up. I will still love everyone in this room. But I am done being the plan that nobody checked with. I am done having my time and my career and my life treated as resources that belong to everyone else first. I have one life. One. And I need to be allowed to live it like it's mine. Nobody spoke for a long time. Finally, my mother said, in a voice that was smaller than I'd ever heard from her. Mom. I didn't think you minded. I thought you wanted to be involved. Cassidy. There is a difference between wanting to be involved and being volunteered. I have always wanted to be part of this family. I have never wanted to be its infrastructure. Another silence. The longest one. Danielle put her mug down. She looked up at me. Her eyes were wet. And she said something I didn't expect. Danielle. I didn't think about it that way. I really didn't, Cass. I always thought you were okay. You never said anything. Cassidy. I know. That's on me too. I should have said something years ago. I'm saying it now. It wasn't the scene I'd feared. There was no screaming. Nobody stormed out. But the room felt different when I was done talking, like furniture that had been rearranged. Like everyone was looking at a space they'd occupied for years and suddenly seeing it clearly for the first time. It was uncomfortable. It was necessary. And it was the first time in my life I had told my family the full truth, from beginning to end, without softening a single edge of it. The weeks after that Sunday were strange. Not explosive. I'd braced for explosion and it didn't come. What came instead was a kind of uneasy recalibration. Like a machine that had been running on a particular setting for years, suddenly having its configuration changed. My mother called me 4 days later. Not to argue. She called to say that she'd been thinking about what I said. She acknowledged, carefully without fully owning it, that the arrangement had happened without anyone explicitly designing it that way. She said she was sorry that she'd assumed. She did not apologize for making the announcement at dinner. She did not apologize for confirming a plan I hadn't agreed to. But it was more than I'd gotten from her in 31 years of this, and I accepted it for what it was. A beginning, not a conclusion. My dad sent me a text. 4 words. I hear you, kiddo. That's my father. Those 4 words from him meant more than a paragraph from anyone else. Danielle and I had a longer conversation, just the 2 of us, about 10 days later. It was hard. We circled around things, landed on them, backed away from them. She cried. Cried eventually. She said that she'd genuinely never considered that her relying on me had consequences for me, because I'd always seemed willing. I told her that seeming willing and being willing are different things, and that I'd learned to seem willing because saying otherwise always felt like a betrayal of the people I loved. She said quietly, I think I took advantage of you. Not on purpose. But I did. That was the moment I exhaled for the first time in a month. It wasn't a perfect conversation. There's years of pattern in us, Years of dynamic, years of being who we've always been to each other. That doesn't dissolve in one afternoon. But it shifted. And shifting was what I needed. In that conversation with Danielle, I offered her something. Not the old arrangement. Never that again. But I offered her something real. Cassidy. Here's what I can do. 1 day a week. A real, scheduled, agreed-upon day. I can be available. That's something I genuinely want to give. But it has to be a real arrangement. It has to be one that acknowledges what I'm providing. And it has to be part of a plan where you, Marcus, and Mom and Dad are all equally involved. Not me as the first resort. Me as one part of a team. She agreed. And you know what happened when we actually put that on paper? When we sat down, all of us, and tried to map out a real care plan. It became very clear, very quickly, how much had been invisible before. Marcus could do 2 mornings a week if he adjusted his schedule. My parents could do 1 full day and 1 afternoon. With my 1 day and a part-time daycare arrangement 2 days a week, it was actually workable. Nobody had thought to organize it. Because organizing it meant everyone contributing. It was easier to just hand the whole thing to me. The hypocrisy exposed itself without me having to say another word. Aunt Linda called me about 3 weeks after everything settled. I expected more pressure. I got something different. Aunt Linda. I talked to your mother. And your sister. I want you to know I understand better now. And I owe you an apology. I didn't say anything. I let her continue. Aunt Linda. I didn't know the whole story. I called you to talk you out of something without knowing what I was talking you out of. That wasn't fair. Cassidy. Thank you for saying that. Aunt Linda. You know what bothers me. I've been watching your family for years and I think I always saw it. You carrying more than your share. I just never said anything because it wasn't my business. I should have said something sooner. I didn't have a response to that. 'Cause she was right. And sometimes people being right about something painful just makes you feel the pain more cleanly. Danielle's Instagram. About a month later, Danielle posted again. Different kind of quote this time. It said, learning to ask for help without demanding it. Learning to receive it with gratitude. Working on it every day. She didn't tag me. She didn't have to. I knew it was meant for me to see. I liked the post. 'Cause she was working on it. We both were. That's the most honest thing I can tell you about how it ended. Not with triumph, not with catastrophe, but with the hard, unglamorous work of 2 people and 2 parents trying to be a family in a more honest way than they'd managed before. There are things that can only be seen clearly from the other side of them. I spent 31 years believing that being needed was the same as being loved. That my worth in this family was tied to what I could provide, what I could sacrifice, what I could absorb without complaint. I didn't understand that as a manipulation, not consciously. It had never been designed to be one. My parents loved me. My sister loved me. The pattern wasn't created out of cruelty. It was created out of convenience, and allowed to continue because I never disrupted it. But love that is conditional on your usefulness is not love. It is employment, and I had been employed by my family for a very long time. The moment I stopped saying yes, immediately, automatically, without condition, was the moment I learned what the relationship was actually made of. Some of it held. Some of it cracked. Some of it turned out to be sturdier than I expected, and some of it revealed itself to be held together with nothing but the expectation that I would keep showing up. I still show up. But I show up differently now. I show up as a person with a life that matters as much as anyone else's. I show up as someone who loves her family without losing herself in them. I show up on my terms, which are reasonable and clear and no longer apologetically offered. The baby was born in the spring. Boy. They named him Oliver. I was at the hospital when he arrived and I held him, and he was perfect and small and smelled like all babies smell, like something new beginning. Cried. Danielle cried. My mother held my hand. And the next week I watched Oliver for 4 hours on a Thursday, which was my day. Marcus had the Monday mornings. My parents had Wednesdays. Danielle's neighbor, a woman named Paula who turned out to be an absolute gift, took 2 afternoons a week for some extra income. To work. Not perfectly, nothing does. But it worked because it was built on reality instead of assumption. On actual conversations instead of decisions made behind closed doors. On a family that was finally, slowly, imperfectly, learning to treat all of its members like members. I'm still in therapy. I still sometimes feel the pull toward the old pattern. The automatic yes, the swallowed complaint, the smile that hides exhaustion. Those things don't disappear overnight. They're built into your nervous system over decades. Unbuilding them takes time. But I can feel the difference now. I can feel when I'm choosing something versus when I'm defaulting into it. And the choosing, even when it's hard, even when it makes people uncomfortable, even when it means sitting in a silent room while your family adjusts to a version of you that has edges, feels like something I didn't have before. Feels like being real. If you are in a family where your needs are always last, if you have become, without signing up for it, the flexible one, the available one, the one everyone calls because they know you'll answer. If you have sat at a dinner table and heard your life rearranged in someone else's sentence and said nothing, I want you to hear this. You are not selfish for having a life. You are not selfish for protecting your time. You are not selfish for refusing to be someone's plan without your consent. Being useful is not the same as being loved. And the moment you stop offering your usefulness as proof of your love, that's when you find out what's actually there. Sometimes what's there is more than you feared. Sometimes people rise to meet you. Sometimes they surprise you. But even when they don't, you still get to keep yourself. And that is not nothing. That is everything. The moment I stopped saying yes, they treated me like the enemy. But for the first time in my life I realized, being useful was the only reason they had ever needed me to say yes at all. If this story made you feel something, drop a comment. Tell me, have you ever been the flexible one in your family? Have you ever had your life planned without your permission? Your story matters. I'm reading every single comment. Subscribe for more stories like this every week. You are never as alone in this as you feel. Good night, everyone.